Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start this part. In this part is chapter 1, part 6. In this part, we will learn to write the results. Results. Why? I got a lot of results. I know several thousand things that won't work. So, the results important. How do we solve that? We will know in this chapter, in this part. There are some key points for writing the results. First, you have to summarize the objectives that you have investigated. Then, state the specific hypothesis being evaluated. Then, you have to describe the analysis and that you have performed it to test the hypothesis. Last, you should organize your data in chronological order according to that list in the objectives. They also have other key points, like determine whether the data you can be present in the form or table or charts. You should make a decision here. And then, first present the descriptive statistics. Present the results of the inter-racial statistics and explain what these tests mean in relation to your aim and objectives. In content of the results, just give some kind of overall description of the experiments, providing the big picture without repeating the experimental details previously provided in the materials and methods. That means, if you already provided the experiment details in the material and methods, do not present it again here. Just give some the overall description of the experiments. Second, you should present the data, all of the data here, and your results should be presented in the past tense because all the data you have already got. You already got, so you present them in the past tense. Here is a question: how do you present the data? I guess, do you have any idea about that? There's some components of the result section. It's general components, like the introduction here and the text part of the results. That is for the text. You have to prepare some of the text in the result part. Also, you have to prepare like tables, figures, charts, graphs, and photographs. Is the results. Is the your finger or your results. You have to let other person to know that. In the introduction of the results, the introductory paragraph is very important in the result section. It should summarize briefly the objectives investigated and also restate the research problem and emphasize the purpose of the studies. For example, the section may start such as the following: the study was conducted in order to determine whether, etc., like this. Also, you can present like this. This study was carried out with the principal aims of lecture. The following parameters were studied. The introductory paragraph should ease the reader into looking at the findings and tempt him to read further. So, the introduction part of the result, you have to spend more time to finish it. Also, another important thing is how to handle numbers. If one or only a few determinations are to be presented, they should be treated descriptively in the text. Repetitively, determinations should be given in tables or graphs. So, any determinations and repetitive or otherwise should be meaningful. Because in the result part that you get a lot of numbers, so how to handle them? how to present the right one is an art. Is very important thing. Sometimes you also repeat your experiments for many times. How to handle them is also important thing for us to grasp. Suppose that in a particular group of experiments, a number of variables were tested. One after time occurs. How to handle them? You have to think about it. Those variables that do not seem to affect the reaction need not to be tabulated or presented. However, it is also important to defend even the negative aspects of your experiments. Sometimes, although you get negative aspects, you have to present them. So, it's important habit, good habits. This is often good insurance to state what you didn't find under the conditions of your experiments. Someone else very likely may find different results under different conditions. If statistics were used to describe the results, they should be meaningful statistics. Just pay attention. They should be meaningful. And in this part, we should strive for clarify. The results should be short and sweet without verbiage. Although the results section is the most important part, it is often the shortest, particularly if it is preceded by a well-written materials and message section and followed by a well-written discussion. Sometimes the result part is the shortest one. So the results need to be clearly, simply stated, because it is the results that constitute the new knowledge that you are contributing to the world. The earliest part of the paper, introduction, materials and methods we already provided before, are designed to tell why and how you get the results. The later part of the paper discussion is designed to tell what that means for the results, what the results mean. Obviously, the whole paper must stand or fall on the basis of the results. So the results is related with the previous description and the later discussion is very, very important thing. The results must be presented with crystal clarity. In the result part, we should avoid redundancy. Do not be guilty of redundancy in the results. The most common fault is repetition in words of what is already apparent to the reader from examination the figures and tables. If the figures or tables can already show something, you don't have to repeat the words. Do not be verbose in citing figures and tables. For example, don't say it clearly saw in table 1 that inhibited the growth of the something. You can say nothing inhibited the growth of something in, and here is table 1. See, the below sentence is shorter than the above. It's clearly. The later format is briefer. It helps authors compare with journals words limited. It also is more readable. It also directs attention to what is most important, the findings, not the table or figure. Some writers go too far in avoid verbiage, however, it's also not good. In this part, sometimes we should provide a supplement. For the supplement, sometimes also providing supplementary material online. Increasing journals are electronic posting material supplementary to papers being published. So, if the journal need the supplement, we just provide them in the supplemental material online. Although sometimes this material regards methods Most commonly, it provides information about the results. So, you still should think about the supplement. Keep in mind too, the journal editor may ask you to place some of your material in an online supplement. Here is some example for the results, like table. Here is a table. You can show like a table in the results part. Also chart. This is the chart data. This graph is usually used in the results graph, and a lot of finger graph. This is the figure from my papers. I just get them put here. And last, just remember in the results part, there have 8 key points. 1. Avoid the illogical sequence of data presentation, and avoid inaccurate data. Pay attention about the repetition of data, and only present expected data from the material and message section not reported. Sometimes misplaced information between material and message and the results section is not good habit. Overuse of views of tables, charts, and figures also is a bad habit. If not necessary, do not use them. Just use text. Perhaps it's okay. Attempt to draw a conclusion is not cannot be put in here. You cannot attempt to draw a conclusion. This should be covered in the discussion section, not here. In result part, you just show what you got. You just show the data. It's enough, and should be clear, and avoid verbose impressions here. That's for this part. Thank you for your attention.